Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Divine Diva, where my diva for today is Christy. So welcome, Christy.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, and I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what you do.
Yeah, so my name's Christy. I am the founder of Ghost Girl. It's a writing boutique for female founders, feminine leaders, and I do a lot of ghostwriting services. So that's either for content creation for social media or like basically based in storytelling, or I do memoir ghostwriting as well. So if anyone
Mm,
looking to write their books. And yeah, I'm just really passionate about the power of the pen and using it
mm,
as a modality for healing, expressing, and really expanding one's message.
mm. Well, we'll dive deeper into that later, but let's start off with in your view, what qualities does a Divine Diva have?
Ooh, that is a great question. To me, it's someone who's soulful and heart-led, looking to really be an active agent for change
Mm,
in the world, because I think there's a lot to be passionate about, and everyone's here for a divine calling. And I think, yeah, that's pretty much the qualities of someone that's willing to act on that too, because
mm.
sometimes we feel that calling, but we don't act on it. And I think divine divas are here to act on it and
Yeah.
to inspire others to also take action in however they feel called.
To be a role model to take that inspired action.
Yeah, it's hard.
Mm.
It's hard and
Yeah.
it's scary, but it's really inspiring to see others step into their power. And I have to
Yeah.
say that's really inspired my own journey. I feel like I was always like kind of shrinking and staying small, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And watching others like get up on stage and be bold and courageous I was like, wow, maybe that's something I should act on as well. And it's
Mm.
almost, you're almost doing a disservice to not, because
Right.
it could be you could be the very vessel that inspires someone else, and it's that ripple effect of change.
Yeah, and
So
we
it's
need all
not,
types of role models, like yeah. So I totally agree with that. I've always been a bit more of a shy person and not very outspoken. I was too shy to get judged by if I spoke, and but now I'm like, I don't care. I have a story to tell.
yeah, that's the power of age. You just start to not care
Exactly.
with each year that passes.
Exactly. When you get past your 40, I'm past my 40, so when you get there, I was like, okay, now I'm living my authentic self. And it was like I always knew, like even in my 30s, I felt that that shift was coming when I turned 40, and it did. So I already felt that coming. I don't know why, but yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful though. It's like
Yeah,
the you know what am I thinking, like the summary of the decade to come, of like the new
right.
chapter. And it's like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
different, like you take all these lessons you've accrued from the past ones,
yeah.
and I always visualize it in like books, and I'm like, especially like people you meet and like events you've had, and
Mhm.
it's like on a shelf, and I'm like, and you
Right.
can pull it down and take that wisdom with you, and you
Mm.
can go back and look at the painful parts and the beautiful parts, and like, I don't know about you, but it feels like with every decade you almost see like the same adversity show up in a different costume,
Right. Yeah,
and
for
you
sure.
forget how you navigated it in the past, and you're like, oh, it's a different terrain, but it's not all that different at the end of the day. So you're like, how
Yeah,
did I get through that? Or like, what can I do that I didn't think to do back then?
yeah,
So yeah, it's really powerful in that way when you see it, and
yeah.
in volumes.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm total book nerd, so I love that you use like the books on the shelf that are your life experience because it's quite an impressive bookshelf. Right?
Right, exactly, it really
Yeah.
is.
And I would love to know of course, you're a spiritual person too, but I would love to know, is there a certain experience or maybe even like an epiphany that catapulted your awakening and your spirituality?
Yes. I feel like it was a little sparks along the way,
Hmm.
that felt very seismic in their moments, but they all kind of added up into this bigger fire,
Yeah.
which was really cool to see looking back. I think it's that Steve Jobs quote that says, "You can't connect the dots looking back, only looking. You can connect the dots looking back, but not looking forward," or
Right.
something. just botched it very badly, but everyone can go look it up. Great.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's kind of how it all transpired for me. I actually started out as a kindergarten teacher, and then to supplement income, and then also just because I was in my young 20s and loved being active and being out, I took on like 5 other jobs in addition to, and I was baristing at a local coffee shop for, it was actually my sister's roommate in college. She opened it. So it was women owned, it was startup, it was entrepreneurial in spirit. So you got that insight and you got part of that energy of building. And then there was another woman in town who opened up a winery, and same case, like it was her passion. You got to see it from the ground up and be a part of the vision. And same goes forward. It was in tutoring. I was a kickboxing instructor for women. So all these things that seemed super disjointed, all of a
Mhm.
sudden looking back, I was like, wait, this all connects. This all
Right.
connects to what I'm doing now, just in a different way. Now I'm
Right.
still supporting women-owned businesses and all these parts that I really loved about those jobs, but through writing and through
Right.
ghostwriting, content creation.
Mm.
So that's where everything started for me. And then as time progressed, I've always had a love for writing ever since I was little. I don't know, you go to college and you go to school and you don't really know that can actually be a career other than
Right.
being the obvious, an author.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, that doesn't really feel like it calls to me. So I don't know how to do this, I guess, like
Right.
for like an actual job. So I took to blogging in 2016 because everyone was like, how are you working so much and not burning out and like blah blah blah, like what's your daily life look like? I did this hustle for 7 years, and I was like, that's really interesting because you heard a lot of talk about burnout, and I was like, but I never felt the burnout was different. It was like, of
Mhm.
course you're tired at the end of the day. You're like, you're on your feet and you're active and I'm working
Right.
long hours. I'm at school from like 7. I get home at like midnight and you do it all over again. But I never felt this stagnation. I never felt like, oh my God, I'm dying. Like this is
Right.
awful. I felt so
Never
inspired.
felt the collapse of her.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
every day was so different and I was so
Right.
inspired and like it was just so fun to be a part of all the energy. And
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I should blog about this. So I and of course I was big into fitness. I was teaching kickboxing and I was watching women really heal differently in that way too. It was like, they're finding all this power and this voice on the mat that wasn't like vanity metrics, or they're not like,
Right.
I want to pack abs, or like I got a promotion at work because I finally had the confidence to ask for it, or I
Yeah.
left that toxic relationship because I actually feel empowered and good in my skin again. And it was
Right.
like, oh, look at the transformations that are going on. So I started a blog called The Passion Warrior Project,
Mhm.
and I was just kind of riffing on all the things I was passionate about and how hustle looks so different when you're chasing a passion, because you experience burnout in a different way. It's not even like burnout. It's like, I don't even know how to
Yeah,
describe
like
it, but
overstimulation or something.
yes. And it's
Yeah.
like, but it inspires more change. And you almost feel burnt out from having too many ideas.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But
Like,
then
where do
again,
I
you
even
also don't
start?
allow the rest to come in, and you're like
Yeah.
constantly like, oh, busy, 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 busy. But did you ever like feel that crash or feel that
Yes.
burnout?
Yes. Eventually I did.
Mm.
I got to the point where I was running so fast. I was running so fast that it was almost like a numbing from other things I needed to address as well.
Mhm.
There was a lot of things that obviously get put on the back burner when you're working
Yeah.
long hours, and I wasn't really paying attention to because I was solely focused over on these directions. And it wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but it was something to
Hmm.
recognize that I don't
Right.
think I did. And when we don't recognize and those roars
Hmm.
are coming up in us, the universe will find a way to stop you in your tracks and
Hmm.
divinely redirect you. And
Right.
I did have an experience that was very much like that. And it really slowed me down. It gave me no other choice but to
Mhm.
slow down.
Right.
And in that moment, it was very confusing, and I felt very where do I go from here?
Hmm.
This is a horrible position to be in. It felt like the world was crashing down around me. Um, and in that moment, I actually had the beautiful insight of like the community that was around me. And like all these people just came out to support me in like my darkest hour and my lowest point. And like it completely re inspired me.
Right.
And it gave me the comfort and the room to redream. And I really felt called to continue writing and showing up in that way. As you said earlier, you're very shy in the same way. I not want to gravitate to a microphone, but give me a pen and I'm all for it. And
Right.
it's like, you know what, this is great. And I don't even care if like no one reads it. I'm just like inspired to do this. And then people were reading it, and my analytics showed it like dropped down globally in like over 20 countries. It was reaching eyes everywhere somehow. I have no
Mhm.
idea. And I was like, cool. I'm like, you know what? I felt really drawn to personal development. So I started a book club on Facebook, and like 500 women around the world joined. And we were all like reading books together and just like growing together. And I learned so much during that period of silence. It just felt dark, but it felt very hopeful too.
Mhm.
And the blog, since it took off, it opened up doors to start contributing to women's empowerment magazines. And I
Mhm.
spoke a lot about confidence, resilience, passion. And from there, I contributed to like dozens of magazines, over 80 articles throughout the time. And then I was like, still like, I love doing this. And I
Mhm.
love the impact it can have, and express myself in the way I know how. And
Mhm.
I was like, but how can this be a career? I was so unclear about that. So I was like, I don't get how I can make this work. And
Mhm.
but I knew who I could speak to. And in that, I went on Craigslist one day. I was still teaching, doing all the jobs and doing all that stuff. I went on Craigslist one day, and there was a copywriter position open for a women's empowerment brand. And I was like, okay. I was like, I
Yes,
don't
it is.
really know what that is, but I was like, I know I can speak to this audience. And I was like
Yeah.
relentless pursuing it. I applied, get on the interview. It went really well. I was like, oh my gosh, I want it. Then you like want it more. And I'm like, oh my God, now I really want this. So,
Yeah.
so I'm like, oh, and they're like, let's do a couple of trial projects. And we did, and it went really well. This was like December of 19, mind you. Um, Months go by, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if this is really going to come to fruition. But you're like, I was like, I'm not giving up. Like, I'm reaching out. I'm still doing the projects, and I'm like, let's do this. And like, you get antsy inside. And
Yeah.
in my mind, though, I was like, from a manifestation standpoint, in my mind, I was like, okay, if I were to get the job tomorrow, I wouldn't want to leave my students mid-year. Like I had all these open endeavors, and I was like, it just didn't feel closed. I was like, if I'm
Mhm.
going to do this and step fully into this, like I'm an all or nothing girl. I was like, it would have to be a full leave and like no regrets. And you just step into it. And as the universe does,
Mhm.
so December was the application and the interview. In March, a week before the pandemic, I get a call. They're like, we love you. Thanks so much for your patience. They're like, we want to onboard you. You know, are you down to do an internship? And I was like, yes. I was like, let me figure out some things. This is my work schedule. We figure it out.
Right.
A week later, everything shuts down because of the pandemic. Zoom school for kindergartners is not all day. Say 30
Yeah.
minute story time.
Right.
So we're like, okay. So I was like, hey, here's the situation. This job was remote from the beginning. And I said, I have all this space now. Are you open to doing a full time internship? And they said, we are. So
Awesome.
I really went in, and all my other jobs obviously closed down. And by the time everything reopened, I signed the contracts to join the company full time.
Great.
So I was like, that was a beautiful closing in a way of like a 7 year trajectory,
Mhm.
and it was very memorable, just from the uniqueness of circumstances. And yeah, and then I worked 3 years at that company, learned so much. They were so generous with their wealth of knowledge, and I just loved it so much. I loved being
Mhm.
there, and in that time, I felt the deeper calling of, wow, I really want to support women more deeply in this. And Ghost Girl was born. And then
Yeah.
in 2023, I took it full time.
Wonderful. It's amazing how everything just comes together like that, right?
Collides, and
Mm.
just the things you can't even see coming, the things you don't even know to ask for because you can't even
Right.
envision it being a thing. And
Yeah.
I was blown away, and I was like, wow. And it's so peaceful in a way because you're like, we're all really that supported. We're all
Mm.
really that supported,
Yeah.
even when it doesn't feel like it.
And it's funny that you mentioned that you had all these different jobs and you're like, how am I going to combine that? But that is exactly that got you the foundation to build you where you are now. I've had several businesses and I've had several jobs and I've been like a music journalist. And I was like, how am I going to incorporate that with wellness and my spirituality? Well, there you go. Here I am.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? It's like
Right.
it builds, it compounds on itself. And then you're like,
Exactly.
wow, I feel so much more able to speak to this and versatile in
Yeah.
this. And it gives you so much
Exactly.
more empathy and perspective to help
Yeah.
others. where you were at and bringing it together. It's
Exactly.
what
It's all that experience that brings you that depth of knowledge that maybe others don't have.
exactly,
Mhm. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Hmm. And I would love to know how you express yourself in a written way that you cannot express otherwise.
Oh man. It's funny. It's funny how the pen works because you can kind of
Mhm.
have this pendulum swing with it because I think we all experience this, right? You're behind your keyboards, you're behind your screens, and you think no one's watching, no one's
Mhm.
looking, and you feel very much empowered to say things in a way that like maybe you wouldn't in real life, right?
Mhm.
And
Right.
it's finding that middle ground of like, and I was always very respectful in how I presented things. If I
Mhm.
look back and in my 20s, it was all fire and all sass and the right, and I had this like totally different tone than I do now where it's like, I think that's just the nature of maturity and emotional intelligence and perspective. Because as you get older and you go through life events and you have deeper empathy and you
Mhm.
see different perspectives and your lens changes. And with that, your ink changes too, because you're
Mhm.
like, oh, I actually can see this in a different way. So my expression has definitely changed over time. I would say just from growing, but and evolving. But I would say it definitely gives me more room, just from my nature and my character, it just gives me more room to process my thoughts and
Mhm.
be more intentional about how I want to deliver them. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm not a public speaker. So when I deliver things verbally, I rewind it in my head like a million times of like, oh
Yeah.
man, which
I
I
wanted to say that, but it came up like this, like, oh my gosh.
yeah, or I didn't say anything. And then that's worse because you're like, I feel so suppressed in the silence and like,
Right.
why didn't I say anything? And now I know how I'd want to say it. So as much as I'm like, oh, texting, social media, I'm like, actually, it is kind of a beautiful thing because it gives people like that a minute to pause and to be
Mhm.
more intentional with words because words are very, very powerful.
Yeah.
And I think, and what makes them so powerful, like speaking of evolution, everyone's like, oh, you have to get so clear on the vision before you can have the voice. But I really just think, like, yes, there's something to that, but I think you have to get clear on the voice before
Yeah.
the vision. Because if you feel passionate, like that passion's going to change as we've talked about, right? Just like you
Right.
find different tastes in clothes as you grow up and tastes in music and food and all these things, like same with passion, like as you develop and you see different things, you're going to change what you're actually passionate about. I think it
Mhm.
roots down to a core calling, but it's going to change. The
Yeah.
voice doesn't. The voice is how you express that passion and how
Mhm.
you deliver it, and that's always going to be uniquely your own. And
Mhm.
it's wonderful because words are as many different languages as there are. It puts a backing to emotion. And
Mhm.
emotion is a shared palette across all races, all people, all plant, like everywhere,
Right.
everywhere. Everyone shares emotion. So if you can activate emotion, as
Yeah.
like we think these stories are so personal, but they are very universal in that way
Right.
because it inspires emotion, and that's the same with music. Like that's why
Yeah.
it reaches the masses, even though it's very specific lyrics about very specific events.
Mhm.
Same with books, but as like
Yeah.
it's that an agent of
Mhm.
expression.
I always say words are spells because with words, when you say them out loud, you can manifest them much quicker and with more intention. And what you see, what you've created, it all comes from the words, not only those that you speak, but of course that you think. Because I would love to know how can women harness that power of their own words and their own self-talk.
Yes, beautiful question. I think it really comes down to, I think as we're talking about the pendulum swinging, right? Of like,
Mhm.
ooh, like maybe that was a harsher delivery than I wanted. And that can
Right.
happen in writing too. And I think for women to really express themselves in a way that feels grounded, but still very true. I get asked that question a lot of like, this is a really traumatic event in my life. And I don't want to re-trigger people by speaking about it like in so much detail or like where is the balance of what to share and
Right.
what not to share.
Yeah.
And I think it really takes a lot of introspection and awareness first, like sitting with the experience first.
Hmm.
There's a quote that's like speak from the scar, not the wound. And
Hmm.
I think that's a powerful way to approach it because
Yeah.
when you do the reflection, and either that's through journaling, through meditating, through being with your own thoughts, just simply being in the experience, you don't
Hmm.
have to see it right away. And I
Right.
think and you extract a lot more wisdom when you sit in it.
Yeah.
Because you find a new version of yourself that
Hmm.
um, that can take on that adversity
Hmm.
and be the phoenix coming out of it as well, not
Hmm.
just sitting in there like a victim. And we can all feel like that at some. I felt like that at some times where I was like, oh gosh, and I was like, if I spoke from this place, it'd be very disempowering. It
Yeah.
probably not be very inspiring at all. Not that
Right.
everything has to be inspiring, but you know what
Hmm.
I'm saying. Like there's a rawness, but there's a realness,
Right.
and then there's a rising effect. And
Hmm.
I wait for the rising effect before I
Hmm.
pen. And I encourage other women to do the same because when you feel empowered and you've risen above the
Hmm.
circumstances, it's going to land that way for
Yeah,
others.
and it won't re-traumatize you because I know when I've dealt with trauma as well, and I couldn't really talk about it when I was still like when it was still like a fresh wound, like you say, and not a scar yet. So I couldn't really talk about it, and I was like because I was reliving it and actually like hurting myself by expressing that. So I had to wait for a while, at least a year or so, to actually let it sit and let it be safe enough for me to actually express it without reliving it again.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
a beautiful insight. The safety piece,
Right.
I think is, we hear a lot of talk about feminine energy, and I think safety is a core value of that.
Yeah.
Feel safe to express and to create and to be.
Yeah.
Um, really, that's the most empowering place to ever be.
Mm.
And I think sometimes the ego gets in the way, or we can feel really
Right.
defensive, and those things can come out in our message as well. But it's when you're very safe in who you are and safe in the experience, and you're safe from
Yeah.
healing from it, that you can find safety no matter what comes up the message.
Hmm.
Everyone's, oh my gosh, what if someone comments this or that? And I'm like, and they will. I was
Yeah.
like, but that's not your place to live. That's
Yeah.
not your lesson to learn. You already
Yeah.
learned your lesson, and your
Mm.
job is to be the vessel to share it for
Yeah.
those.
Because when you have rebuilt that foundation of yourself in a safe way, knowing that of nothing can really affect you, that it will like shake up that foundation because you have rebuilt it from a place of strength and safety and trust.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Oh, I got chills at the same time. Like, yes, that's it. That's the vision. Always like that's it. Like future self talk. I'm like, that's who I envision. Like that.
Mm.
That's just so calm and confident and safe in who they
Mm.
are, safe in their skin, safe in their delivery. That's
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
that's it. Amen. And I would love to quote you because you said your voice doesn't need alterations. Your story doesn't need simplification. It needs expression. Please
Mhm.
tell a bit more about that, please.
Yes, I feel like we've reached this phase, and it's been interesting with the development of AI as well.
Mm.
Everything feels very templated and very much for performance, and we're all kind of at the mercy of the algorithms and whatever that looks like. And this, I have to show up every day, or else I won't get seen.
Right.
And like we just talked about, right? Like if you're safe in who you are and you're safe in your story, you will be seen, and you
Mm.
will be seen in the time where that inspired action comes from. I truly
Mm.
believe that. I'm not like I fell into the trap of performance as well, and I was like, I'm not interested in performance. I'm not interested in altering my art for the algorithm. Like it's just not it. So to me, it's like I hear everyone talking about the story, and like it has to look this certain way or be templated a certain way to drive the traffic, to get the hook, to
Mhm.
get the CTA. And I'm like, strip all that noise away
Yeah.
and get down to like what do you need to share in your unique way? And sometimes like that's what I love about ghostwriting. It's not even me like writing for someone else as much as it is women experiencing their vulnerability sometimes for the first time, and the reflection of someone mirroring it back. And I'm like,
Mhm.
that part right there, like your voice is you're so in close proximity to it that you don't even realize what makes it so powerful sometimes. And to have someone point that out, like that's the magic right there, like that part right there that you said.
Mhm.
And it just creates this different mindset and this different lens of which to write to. So that's where I'm at right now, and I work with my clients with that. And just using it as this, I had a client, she beautifully said it, because I was like, it's not so much like they come to me when they're already healed from the experience, like we talked about. It's not re-triggering. We're ready to speak to it
Mhm.
in this new way.
Right.
My client, she came to me and she healed from all the things. She wrote this beautiful book, and then she said, I'm just so, it feels like a weight has been lifted off me, a relief to just put it out in the world finally.
Hmm.
And like, and that's that feeling. I was like, I had chills when she said it because I was like, that's the part I want to get every woman to. It's like it's that relief
Hmm.
of like, this is the tie the bow on all of that experience.
Hmm. It's like the closing of a cycle.
Yes, yes. And I'm like, and let it live on as its own. It's its own entity now.
Right.
And it's free of you. And you're
Hmm.
free of it. And now
It
it's a
has its
part.
own energy, and hopefully that energy inspires others.
Yes, 100%, a hundred
Mm.
percent. And it's such a fun thing to be a part of. It's such a beautiful thing to be a part of.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I think it's so much simpler than we make it.
Mm.
Simple and complex, but it's simpler than we make it. And
Mm.
I don't think it has to be as stressful as it has to be, XYZ word count and this
Right.
YZ structure and all that stuff.
And besides writing, what are some other ways that you create and from that authentic place?
Oh, I yeah, I'm still trying to explore other ways. I this is gonna sound so silly, but I ordered this adult paint by numbers kit.
Okay.
I'm not a freehand artist, but it was this beautiful imagery of it's like the ones you see of the women with the flower over their face. So it's
Mm.
like this, and it was just like beautiful, beautiful painting. I was like, oh my gosh. So I order it, and it took me like days to complete this thing, even by paint by number. And when it was done, I framed it. It's like up in my like little creative space. And I was like, wow, this has inspired. Like I would love to be able to like freehand something like that someday. But it did feel still like so, even though it was like already templated out, in like a
Yeah.
numbers way, it still felt very connective because the image was so powerful and it spoke to me. So I like
Mhm.
finding different things like that where you can kind of be expressive and learn at the same time of like
Mhm.
things that are outside your comfort zone or outside your
Yeah.
wheelhouse, but still pretty much connected in a way. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe to be continued.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I write a lot as well. I mean, I'm in the midst of writing a book and I've written poetry before. And I thought I want to create something else. So I bought a course in like kawaii or the drawing. That's like Japanese like characters and such, like cute characters. And you had to create a character of your own. So I created literally like a panda bear with a ballerina skirt on.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Well,
It's
you have to
really
send
fun.
me that picture. That is so fun. How cute. I love it.
Yeah. It's a different way to express it. I mean, I'm really bad at drawing, but I thought, oh well, give it a try, right? You have to just extend your comfort zone a bit further.
Yeah, and surprise yourself along the way. Like, who knew, right?
Yeah, I didn't know I could draw a panda in a ballerina skirt. Okay.
So
So,
awesome.
well, yeah, it's a fun way to, just explore and, like I said, expand that creative source that is within you. It's not about the end result. Even it can be good, it can be bad. It's fine. It's about like the process, right?
Exactly. Exactly. It's about learning along the way, challenging yourself. It's all in the in between.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
all the magic's in there.
Have fun with it as well. I think it's so important to because we're so based on like results and getting or into perfectionism. I'm like, just do it for fun and not for the result that it has.
Oh my gosh, so true. I don't know if you follow Gabby Bernstein at all.
Yeah.
She talks a lot about that, and same thing. It's like it's just not that complex. Like have fun
Mhm.
with life.
Yeah.
Like have fun, and like I feel like that's kind of connects back to what we were talking about being safe. Like
Right.
you can really be open in your creativity and your femininity and all these things when you feel safe to have fun and to
Yeah.
explore, to just be free.
Exactly. And it's so you feel lighter when you just do things just for fun.
Right? Well, it's like
Yeah.
because like when last time, like we kind of had permission to do that. It's like you
Right.
kind of get roped into the system of like performance, or you have
Yeah.
to do something to receive something. Like you have to have a job to get the money and like to
Right.
live for your well being. And it's like, well, when was the last time we just lived because we're human?
Right. Exactly.
As we can. And yeah, admittedly, I could get better at doing that too. It's like
Mhm.
you get so roped into your days, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't love that it goes by that fast, like I want to slow it down with fun and freedom
Yeah.
and these other aspects. So So
Mm.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my last question is always the same, and that is, when do you feel most divine?
Ooh. Um, that is such a powerful question. I feel most divine um, when I'm able to watch women grow wings, as I call it. Like
Mm.
it's just witnessing that evolution, like not telling, not systemizing, not any of that, just witnessing it and watching them come to their own story and their own
Mm.
healing, their own conclusions, like independent of me. I'm just there to witness and guide and
Right.
in most cases. And it's just um yeah, it's such a divine power and gift. And I'm so grateful when I witness it because I'm like, wow, you almost just didn't even know how to get here. And I'm
Mhm.
so glad the universe opened doors and pushed me, even when I was like dragging my feet to get here, because that's just, it's everything to me. And my soul
Mhm.
just feels really alive in that reflection. So
Mm. It feels empowering, right? To see other women empowered.
yeah, yeah, because there's a lot of silent suffering. There's a lot of
Yeah.
suppressed stories, um, and just watching women really own it and like who they become in the process of and after is
Mhm.
just I was like, if you want a before and after picture, that's the one.
Right. Absolutely. I thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today, Christy. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a beautiful conversation.
Thank you.